I already knew I had him because there was simply no competition out there for me. But let's just look at it objectively. You had this average Black American guy who now was able to choose between what he was dealing with before and somebody completely new. And let me tell you, the moment I stepped into that man's life, he really didn't know how to deal with my femininity because I was not loud. I was not screaming. I was not trying to, be louder than him. I didn't interrupt him because that's not something that I learned from home. If somebody would speak, and especially a man, you would let that man speak and then you would listen and then say whatever you have to say, right? So I was clean. I cooked. He didn't know what it was when a woman is actually in the room asking him, like, do you want something to drink? Before I got myself something to drink. Do you want something to eat? Before I started to eat my food, I would ask him, do you want to have a bite? I would come out of nowhere and just have a fruit bowl and just offer him some fruit. He didn't know none of this. So my husband, back then boyfriend, really thought this was a dream come true. He didn't know how to deal with none of this because all this me coming through, just being nurturing by nature, his peoples and his family didn't even do that for him. Like the family, there is no family unit. The average family, especially Black American family, has barely a family unit. There is no breakfast, lunch, and dinner at set times. And these are things that I introduced my husband to with my family. Can you imagine that impact that I had on him back then? So gentlemen, do not be afraid of traveling. There are so many more women out there who are willing to take care of you. It doesn't matter if they're young, it doesn't matter if they're older. They are willing to take care of you, willing to work with you, willing to be a part of your life. You don't have to deal with whatever you are dealing with back in your hometown because unfortunately a lot of American women are lost in the delusional world that they are living in, and they don't even understand that they are going to be lonely for a long time, if not for the rest of their life. They say by choice, but I don't believe them.
Why would that German woman eat us up like that? And when I say us, I mean us as Black women. If you haven't seen the video, the woman came out, German women, talking about how Black American women are no competition, like none at all. And she stood 10 toes on it, confidently said it. And honestly, y'all, there's no lies. Unfortunately, she felt comfortable saying that because it's true. We are not feminine women. We are not raised to respect, to be kind, to be nurturing, to be caring of our Black men. And unfortunately, what they're doing, they're coming in and swooping them right on up because we are leaving the door right on open. They know how to talk to men. They know how to treat Black men. They know how to love them properly, how to support them properly. And they have no problem doing it. And my issue is, right, us as Black women, we want to sit back and talk about, well, why we can't do it and why we can do that. We don't do it because we don't want to. And we're not taught to want to do it. We're not taught to respect men. And we know this is the thing, right? We know that there's men out here who Black men who would prefer a woman of a different race. Got it. It might be her hair, whatever. The exoticness. I got it. But we also want to face the fact that Black men are choosing women of other race because of our attitude. They don't want to deal with our attitudes. They don't want to deal with a masculine woman. So instead of us trying to deflect and say, oh, it's about her hair, it's about her eyes, it ain't about that. It's about her attitude. The way that she loves him, the way that she treats him, the way she talks to him. That's what a man wants. Any man wants that. I don't want the woman who's going to be aggressive. It ain't about her being a white woman with long hair. No, it's about her being a kind woman who supports me, who respects my opinion. But we get so caught up in, I ain't listen to no man. Ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. I have to be masculine. This is my situation. Nothing I could do about it. And it is. Says you can change if you want to. You have to want to change. You have to want to change your situation. So until then, we're going to have more of that happening. We're going to have more of these women able to come out confidently, stand on what they mean, and be able to take our men. Because we let them. Because we don't care about them. So they said, well, we'll take them off your hand. Come over here, y'all. We'll love y'all over here properly. If that wasn't a wake-up call to y'all, Black women, I don't know what it's going to take. Because it surely made me be like, wow.
Wow. What is our world coming to? What is our world coming to? But this is not a complaint. Really and truly, honestly, after listening to this German woman speak. What did she say wrong? What did she say wrong? Now let's get this straight. I'm a married man, but I love my black sisters. And if I wasn't married, I would seek to marry a black woman. But at this junction point of my life, high up on the list of priorities, it would be someone who is caring. It would be someone who is nurturing. It would be someone who is truly loving and attentive. It would be someone who is not masculine, because first and foremost, that is the biggest turnoff. I'm not a man who is into men. I'm a man who I'm into the female energy. It would be someone who would share interests like I do, who would be interested in the things that I'm interested in. And this is why you have to go through the process of dating to see if you're compatible. There would be no attitudes. There would be no over talking. Now, most would say, Lance, now, come on now. What do you want? Like somebody like I Dream a Genie? You want a subservient puppet that you can boss around? No. You see, all of those attributes that I just spoke of, which is probably a handful more that I couldn't recall now off the top of my head. That's what I bring to the table. No attitudes, loving, supportive, nurturing, shared interests, no speaking above, peace in the household. That's all a man wants, those attributes. We don't need a woman who has a BBL. We don't need a woman who has fake breasts. We don't need a woman who has all of these eyelashes and the weave and the makeup and all of this stuff. And we don't need that. I say we, but I know I'm speaking for so many men. Now, I'm off the market, but I watch the market. And if you have those attributes, and you may not be a sister, I can understand why there's so many men that are truly fed up with those particular black women. I did not say all. This is where many are going to get upset. I did not say all. I prefer a black woman. I'd probably stay to myself if I couldn't get a black woman. That's me. But I can understand why it is so easy to be pushed into the arms of another. Because nobody wants to come home to a combat zone. No one wants to come home to another man. Nobody wants to come home to a hostile living environment. Nobody wants to come home to this domineering, finger-pointing, complaining, nagging person who doesn't know how to be a woman. And maybe there are women out here who were never taught. Maybe there are women out here who, for them, that was a sense of normalcy. That's all they know. But there are a lot of men out here who cannot teach them that. And if they could, there are a lot of women out here who would not be willing to learn how to please their man the same way the man, this is all based on the man pleasing the woman also. So don't think that I'm trying to say it's a one-sided thing. So Lance, you saying it's all right for a man to go outside of his race and date a white woman or date an Asian woman or marry one and whatever? Preferably, I'd prefer my own, but I'm not going to knock anybody else who comes home to a loving, civil, respectful, nurturing home where you can drop your guard and rest and bask in bliss. Let that sink in. You get to a certain age in life and you're all for the revolution. But there should not be a revolution when you come home. And again, let me reiterate and say again, I am not throwing off on all black women. There are many black women out here who get it. There are many black women out here who speak the same way I do about some of the sisters who just don't get it. You're trying to talk to a woman that you might be interested in. And in talking to her, she doesn't realize how much she sounds like a broken record. She doesn't realize it. Well, I got my house, and I got my car, and I got my job, and I got my money, and I got my this, and I don't need a man, and I got my house, and I got my car, and I got my career, and I got my money, and I don't need a man, and wonders why those men who are within her proximity slowly tiptoe away as she goes on like a broken record. And then they add on the masculine energy. That is too much. That is too much. So when a lot of our brothers, and I've seen it, and I have to speak up for them. And really, I don't care who gets mad because I'm good. I'm cool. I'm far away from America. I'm off the market. And I'm enjoying this particular segment of my life. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about the attitudes. But I will say this, that even in normal dealings where a woman, and we're talking about these types of black women. Now in the video, the German woman didn't say anything about black women, right? That wasn't the aim of her dialogue. The sister that came on afterward made it about black women. Yes, she did. Because included in that segment are black women who are like that. So it's some and not all, some and not all, some and not all. And we're still going to have somebody who comes down into the comment section who says I'm bashing black women, and I'll call you out. Because some of you don't listen. You hear, but you do not listen. I'm going to say it again. You hear, but you do not listen. You listen just enough to answer, but you're not listening to understand. You're not listening to understand. So when you come back and say something, letting that man know that you weren't even listening to him, that is so disrespectful. You're not even paying him no mind. And you got the masculine energy. And you have the attitude. Look, there's so many men who are attached. Whether it's in a committed relationship, or trying to keep it committed, or married, or whatever, common law. And women who are like that, who are attached to their man, they push their man into the arms of another woman who doesn't mind his company. Oh, I'm not saying it's right. This is what happens. He goes over and spends a few hours and gets treated like a king before he comes home to the madness. And she never understands it. She never gets it. She's getting old and dried up and still the same way. And it's not even about it being a younger woman. So these masculine women who have attitudes, who happen to be sisters, don't get mad. Don't get mad at all. When these brothers who have waited around for you for so long, go elsewhere. Now, brothers, yes, I would prefer for you to find a sister. There are many available sisters who are pristine in their essence. But you see, sometimes the fire in the house can get so intense, and you're on the 3rd floor, and the fire is so intense you forget that there's a stairwell to run downstairs. You run straight out the window, jump right out the window, not even caring about the consequences of falling from the 3rd story of a building. So choose properly, and don't let these types turn you off to your sisters, but understand that I understand how you feel. Life is not long. Our time is measured. And I thought it was long when I was 12, 13 years old. I saw somebody 35 years old, and I said, man, one of my teachers, and I was like, man, that person's old. Now at 61, I would trade places with them for sure. Not really. I wouldn't want to trade places with anyone because I love my life and my destiny and what I've learned. I wouldn't be me. I'm okay with that. Because that 35-year-old might live two years and I might live another 40 or 50, who knows? I'm in my own lane and I love the lane that I'm in. I've made some poor choices in life. Yes, I have, on a romantic level, on a relationship level. And I've learned from them. And I didn't know then what I know now. But you're not going to have any problems out of me. But like I was beginning to say before, you know, when in America, when I used to live there, and I would see those types, and of course I was not interested in them. I'm married, I'm not thinking about that. But even just to deal with those types who want to throw off on you the power they have. What power? Here you are hurting on the inside, and whatever modicum of success that you've achieved in this system that does not look too favorably on black men, but will favor you, especially in corporate America, because they get a female and they get a minority. So they're going to favor you. Don't think they love you so much. But automatically, when I would lock eyes with these types, it could be a clerk in a store, it could be somebody in public, it could be someone that I had to deal with somehow, some way in public or shopping or, you know, something like that. I already knew when I locked eyes with him. I said, uh-oh, here's a live one. And it seemed as though if I wasn't checking them out, you know how sometimes, listen, ladies, you know when a man is checking you out, that split second, even when he's trying to hide it, you know, oh, he's checking me out. Well, they put themselves together very well, especially in corporate America and in public, these types, because that's part of the game. I know you want me, but I don't want you. I don't want no man. But when they see you, that you're not ogling their presentation like they want you to, for the rush of power to later on come down on you in a condescending manner, it seems like they get angry. They have the nails and the stilettos and the tight skirts and the boobies pushed up and, you know, the DSLs, the lips, the gloss, you know what that means, right? Everything done up, and they're looking at you. And when they can see that you're not looking at them that way and you're soft-spoken and you say, excuse me, miss, I need you to help me with this particular, well, get to the point. It could be like you're renewing your license or too cool for them, and you're damn sure not checking them out. Their weaponized femininity doesn't work on you. And so you deal and you say, have a good day, and they get mad at that. This is not all black women, but those types who are like that. And these are the types that many black men don't want to deal with. Oh, God, here comes another one. Now, I don't need no man types. But deep down, in the midnight hour, when they're home, their car, their house, their money doesn't hold them. And you can't tell me that there's a woman in existence, one of our sisters, who may be of this type, that truly, unless she's a lesbian, and some of them are creeping with men too now, don't get it twisted. Some of them love to be held by a man and a whole lot more. But you can't tell me that they don't wish they had somebody. A lot of these women are wounded, have been traumatized and preconditioned earlier on in life. I understand it. I see it. I know it. Come on now. It's me you're talking to. Listen, I understand the black experience in America. You see? But if you want to live a happy life, I'm not saying that when you say you don't need a man, I understand what you're saying. You don't want a bum man. You don't want a lazy man. You don't want a cold-hearted man. No. In the beginning of this video, when I started talking, after a while, I spoke of the attributes. If you have these attributes embedded in your essence, there is no way a real woman couldn't resist. So maybe that's what they mean. The Pookies and the Ray Rays, they don't want those types. Those are males. Those are not men. Understand that. So there are a lot of hurt women out here. But ladies, you're going to have to change. If you don't change, that pain is going to continue to go through your mind, body, and soul. And once you hit that age, this is not fear-mongering. I'm not trying to be Kevin Samuels, y'all. But even me, as a person who was several years older than Kevin Samuels, there are things that I learned from him. And I've heard women speak of him, especially when he passed away. Good, I'm glad he's dead. He got his just due. I'm like, wait a second, come on now. Let's talk on an intellectual level. You act as though he violated you in some kind of way. But you know the word that comes to mind? Accountability. There are many women out here. Well, what about the men then? Listen, let's not deflect. Here on the Lancescurv show, I go in with surgical precision. And again, I'm not talking about all black women. I have to say that again. And there's going to be somebody who doesn't hear that because they're not listening to communicate or reply in the comment section. They're listening just enough to answer me back in the way that they want to answer. That's first and foremost. If you can't communicate back and forth, if you can't really listen and comprehend, it ain't going to work. That is one of my number one pet peeves. I'm talking to you about how I feel, about my emotions, about where I am, where my emotional, mental, and physical blip is on the radar screen, and you're listening just enough to reply back in the way you want to reply back. You're not even listening. You're hearing, but you're not listening. I can't even grant you that you're listening. You're just hearing me. It'll never work. And this is why that woman who treats the man sweetly and listens to him, soothes his wounds like he wants to do for her. This is why it takes an extra hour or 2 or 3 for that man to come home. A lot of men who do that, that's another topic. It's a very, very serious thing. But men do have needs. And I'm not going to knock you. If they're met whichever way, they have to be met. I'm pro-black. I'm pro-black family. But I'm pro-happiness also. And if a man can't be happy, In his own personal life, the revolution means less and less to him, because if he can't go home after dealing in a wicked world like the one we live in and be happy, then what's the point? I want to hear your feedback on this. I want to speak on topics like this that cut to the bone, because it's time that we really focus on the things that deal with how we deal with each other. There's so much of the foolishness back and forth online, the battle of the sexes and the black man against the black woman. I'm not coming against the black woman. We're just having an intimate, intellectual family chat. Black men, yes. In other topics that we cover, there's things that you're going to have to deal with within yourself. Certain types. But the type of black women that we're speaking about today, for you to be happy and have your men coming running back home, you're going to have to be accountable, and you're going to have to make some adjustments with that attitude. If not, nobody wants to deal with it. And when you run with the white man, you don't run with that attitude over to him. You quickly disable that, because you know he's not going to deal with it. No man is going to deal with that. So don't come now and alter yourself and see, I don't need to be with the black man. I ran with the white one. He treat me good. Hey, as long as you keep that masculine energy, finger pointing, head swiveling, attitude, you'll be all right. I'll say it that way. You'll be all right. It's bad enough we're attacked as the black family, and there's factions in this world that don't want us together. Look at the decline of the black family and black marriage. It's evident. We don't see it. We're so caught up in this internet foolishness. Let me tell you something. You need to leave that stuff alone. Absorb it in measured amounts. Go into it like you go into some intimacy with a new partner. Stay protected. You have to wear that intellectual condom, that spiritual condom, because there's so many diseases, not just physical. You can't catch it over the internet. What I'm saying is that diseases of the mind that spread. Then we have this thing called algorithm. When you watch one thing, they think, oh, you need more of the same thing, so you have more black women hating black man channels and black men hating black women channels. Like I told you, you need to detox. You need to see a little bit more what's going on in the world. How are you going to do that? How are you going to get away from the personal footprint that you've put online and in cyberspace? Do this for me. I said it before in the last show. Log out of YouTube or any social media platform, but let's just pick YouTube. Log out of it, sign out of it, then pull it up again and hit the home page and see what's not on your algorithm, what's happening out there. Maybe some corny stuff you're not interested, but what I'm saying is that these things zero in on what you focus on and amplifies it even more. And it's not always good. It's not always healthy. You know, it's just like when a person says, yeah, I grew up in the hood. But it doesn't mean you have to bring the hood with you everywhere you go. You can grow up in the hood and evolve just like anyone else. Your beginning doesn't dictate the life journey that you're going to have if your mind is right. But if you go somewhere where you can ascend and get around different people who have a different mentality, whatever the color, and you stay the way you stay with a hood mentality, then you're not going to go anywhere at all. The same thing with the brothers and the sisters who have certain mentalities toward each other. If you don't evolve from that, you're not going to attract anything good to you. You're not. And as much as you feel as though, I'm talking back to the sisters now who are like that you've achieved success, then why do you have this hole in your heart where you wish when you see that black family getting along together and it does something to you. You say, wow, I really missed the boat. Let me know what you think, family. Lancescurv out. Lancescurv.com, always. Peace.
Lancescurv.com. Bold, raw, and uncut.
So, my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth.